Yeah, they're getting really closer now, and the first signing could be Ederson from Atalanta, a story we've been mentioning here on the channel for some time now, for a few weeks, because Man United, basically what they did is been to fly to Italy with the delegation to start conversations on several topics. Don't forget that, for example, the agents of Tonali are in Italy, and there are more things they can discuss, for example, exits for the summer transfer window. So Man United had several meetings. We know they are always very active on the Italian market. Remember Højlund, remember Zirze, remember Dorgu, and many other players. Now, in this case, for Ederson. So, the agreement, Manchester United, Ederson, is done. The player said yes to Man United, the contract is ready, it's a 5-year deal, Ederson wants to go to United.
What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel, because things are moving fast at Manchester United this summer, and we have got a massive update for you today, thanks to none other than Fabrizio Romano. Here is what we know. United officials have physically flown out to Italy, and while everyone assumed the trip was purely about wrapping up the Ederson deal, Romano is now telling us that was not the only reason they made that journey. Let's start with Ederson, because that one is basically done. United have been in advanced talks with the Atalanta midfielder for several days now, and it has emerged that a fee of just under €45 million, roughly £39 million, is close to being agreed between the two clubs. And here is the really significant detail. Personal terms have already been agreed with the player, a 5-year contract at Old Trafford, done on his end. The club just need to finalise things with Atalanta, and Romano is saying this could be completed quickly, potentially before the World Cup kicks off. Ederson is coming. It is a matter of when, not if. But here is where it gets really exciting. According to Romano, while United's delegation was in Italy sorting out Ederson, they were also having conversations about Sandro Tonali. Romano said, and I'm paraphrasing here, that United basically flew out with a delegation to start conversations on several topics, noting that Tonali's agents are based in Italy and that there were multiple things to discuss, including potential exits this summer. He added that United are always very active in the Italian market, so this is not just an Ederson trip, this is a full-scale operation. Now, Tonali has been on United's radar for a while. Newcastle have slapped an £86 million price tag on the 26-year-old, and there were doubts about whether the fee and the wage demands would put United off. But those rumours have absolutely refused to go away. And now with Romano confirming direct conversations with his representatives, this suddenly feels very real. Here is the financial picture that makes it all make sense. United have reportedly set aside between £140 and £150 million specifically to strengthen their midfield with 2 new signings this summer. Casemiro is on his way out, and the club wants a complete rebuild in the middle of the park under their new permanent manager. Now there was a question of whether Elliot Anderson from Nottingham Forest was still in the picture. United had been linked with the 22-year-old, but Forest are reportedly demanding £100 million for him. According to the Mirror, United are now ready to pull the plug on that pursuit entirely. And if they do, that frees up the budget to go and get both Ederson and Tonali. £40 million for Ederson, £86 million for Tonali. You are right in that £140 to £150 million budget. The maths works out, and on Newcastle's side, the pressure is building for them to sell. Anthony Gordon has already agreed a deal to join Barcelona. The club finished in the bottom half and missed out on European football entirely. Losing that kind of revenue hurts. If United come in with serious money for Tonali, it is going to be very hard for Newcastle to say no. So to summarise where we are right now, Ederson is essentially done. Personal terms agreed, fee nearly there, completion expected soon. And Tonali? United have just sent their officials to Italy to have direct conversations with his representatives. Romano is on it. The money is there. The intent is clear. This is shaping up to be one of the most significant transfer windows in Manchester United's recent history. And we are not even in June yet. Moreover, Ederson is not being brought in as a direct replacement for Casemiro, who is departing Old Trafford this summer. The plan is for him to provide quality depth, but crucially, United's midfield ambitions do not stop there. The club wants to make a statement signing for the position. Ederson is also set to leapfrog Manuel Ugarte in the pecking order, with the former PSG man now available for transfer. And that statement signing? It could well be Sandro Tonali. Reports coming out of Italy are claiming that the Newcastle United midfielder is on his way to Manchester United, with the club ready to go all in to get the deal done. United are said to be completely undeterred by the £87 million price tag Newcastle have placed on the former AC Milan man. Now that is a serious amount of money, but here's the context. Tonali originally signed for Newcastle for £55 million and is under contract until 2029. However, things at St James's Park are shifting. They finished in the bottom half of the table, failed to qualify for Europe, and Anthony Gordon is reportedly close to joining Barcelona for nearly £70 million. All of that could put Newcastle under financial pressure, and United know it. Newcastle's Eddie Howe has tried to sound calm about the situation, saying the club are in a stronger position to handle transfers now that they have a sporting director in place. But with the Tonali links growing louder by the day, we will see how that resolve holds up. Moving on, and this one might raise a few eyebrows, United have been linked with a move for Bournemouth's Alex Scott. However, it is now being reported that Bournemouth are doing everything in their power to keep Scott this summer, along with two other key players. The South Coast club are firmly intent on holding on to all three despite interest from some of the biggest names in the Premier League. So that one looks like it could be a difficult deal to get done. Meanwhile, Adam Wharton is another name that has come up in connection with United's midfield rebuild. However, the club reportedly view him as too similar to Kobbie Mainoo, and in their preferred 4-2-3-1 system under Carrick, Wharton is not seen as a natural partner for the young Englishman. United could still move for him if they decide to sign 3 midfielders rather than 2 this summer, so don't completely rule it out. But right now, he's not the priority. And finally, what is happening with Marcus Rashford? The United forward has been on loan at Barcelona and by all accounts has had an outstanding spell in Spain. Barcelona hold a £26 million option to sign him permanently. But here's the twist. They are keen to bring in another striker as well, and Hansi Flick's squad would actually prefer another loan deal for Rashford, giving them the financial flexibility to pursue a second forward. Anthony Gordon joining Barcelona would further complicate the picture. What makes it even more interesting? Both Arsenal and Tottenham have reportedly held talks over a potential move for Rashford. So if Barcelona don't exercise that option, and it is looking like they might not, there could be a very interesting transfer saga playing out around one of United's own players. It is going to be one busy summer at Old Trafford. That is all the latest for now. If you enjoyed this breakdown, smash that like button and subscribe so you don't miss a single update as the window opens up. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you want Tonali? Is Ederson the right signing? And what should United do with Rashford? I'll see you in the next one. There is also the name of Matheus Fernandes being mentioned, with United monitoring his situation at West Ham very carefully. West Ham have been relegated to the Championship, which means Fernandes is virtually certain to leave the club this summer. The Daily Mail are reporting that West Ham want around £80 million for him, double what they paid Southampton for him just 12 months ago. Now their relegation has slightly weakened their negotiating position, which could bring that price down. But £80 million is still a significant outlay. And the question is whether United would look to bring in Ederson, a marquee signing like Anderson, and then Fernandes on top of that. It would be an extraordinary midfield rebuild in a single window, but nothing appears to be off the table right now. And what about the dream signing? Because there is one name being whispered around Old Trafford that has everyone buzzing. Aurélien Tchouaméni of Real Madrid. The Frenchman is regarded as one of the best central midfielders in the world, and United see him as the perfect marquee successor to Casemiro. The problem? Real Madrid are expected to keep him for Jose Mourinho's first season back at the Bernabeu. Yes, you heard that right. Jose Mourinho is returning to Real Madrid, and Tchouaméni is expected to be central to his plans. So while United are dreaming of landing him, the realistic assessment at Old Trafford is that it would take something extraordinary to prize him away from the Bernabeu this summer. Never say never in football, but that one looks very difficult. Now let's talk about the exits, because to fund this level of transfer activity, United need to move players on, and Carrick's side have a plan for that too. Manuel Ugarte is expected to leave this summer. Reports suggest United are looking to sell him before his value deteriorates further, and Galatasaray are mentioned as one of the leading candidates for his signature. The story around Ugarte's arrival at United has not been a happy one. Sources in Paris were apparently surprised that United paid £50 million for a midfielder who was so far down the pecking order at PSG, and there have been well-documented difficulties with his ball-playing ability since arriving in England. A move away this summer looks likely, and frankly, the fee they can recoup for him needs to go straight back into strengthening the squad. Andre Onana is also reportedly set to leave Old Trafford. The goalkeeper has had a mixed time at United since arriving from Inter Milan, and it sounds like the club are ready to move on. Marcus Rashford and Jadon Sancho are also departing, as is Joshua Zirkzee, who arrived with so much promise but has struggled to establish himself consistently. And of course, Rasmus Højlund has already left, having joined Napoli on a loan deal last season that became permanent after Antonio Conte's side qualified for the Champions League. A lot of faces are leaving, which means a lot of wage budget and transfer funds are being freed up for Carrick to reinvest. Now let's move away from midfield for a moment, because there are other areas of the squad that need addressing too, and Carrick is clearly thinking about this holistically. On the left wing, with Rashford and Sancho both leaving, there is a clear gap. United were apparently interested in signing Antoine Semenyo in January before he ended up joining Manchester City, which is a frustrating one in hindsight. RB Leipzig winger Jan Diomande is on the radar, but a fee of around £85 million has been mentioned by sources in Germany, and that is simply not realistic for United in a summer where a marquee midfield signing is the priority. The more likely solution, at least in the short term, might be Patrick Dorg. The young fullback has been deployed on the left wing this season and was actually brilliant there before picking up an injury in January. He was excellent again on the left flank in his first start back from that injury at the weekend, and Carrick is apparently considering whether that should become his permanent position going forward. It would be an intriguing solution that solves two problems at once: the left wing and the left back positions. Because left back is also a need. Luke Shaw has played every Premier League game this season, but United played their fewest matches in a campaign for over 100 years. And with a full Champions League season ahead of them next year, they need depth in that position. The player who has caught United's attention is Lewis Hall at Newcastle United. The young England defender is highly rated, admired at Old Trafford, and has been impressive for the Magpies. The challenge is that Newcastle will demand a significant fee and will be very reluctant to sell a young talent to a direct Premier League rival. Hall is contracted until 2029, so Newcastle hold all the power in that negotiation. Arsenal's Miles Lewis-Skelly and Eintracht Frankfurt's Nathaniel Brown have also been tracked as alternatives at left-back, so United are clearly doing their homework in that area. And then there is one name that came out of left field this week that I genuinely did not expect. Rio Ferdinand has gone on his YouTube channel and suggested that United should look at signing Robert Lewandowski. Yes, that Robert Lewandowski. The 37-year-old is leaving Barcelona after 4 prolific years at the Nou Camp, and his next move is not yet confirmed. Ferdinand's argument was interesting. Not necessarily that Lewandowski is going to be at the peak of his powers, but that the experience and mentality he would bring to the squad alongside a young striker like Benjamin Sesko could be invaluable. Look at the experience he has, the amount of learning that Sesko will do, Rio said. It is a fascinating idea, and honestly, for a club returning to the Champions League and trying to build a winning culture, there is something to that argument. Whether United actually pursue it is another matter entirely. And finally, let me mention something that has been floating around this week that deserves attention. Cole Palmer. The Manchester-born Chelsea star has previously shut down any talk of leaving Stamford Bridge, but The Sun are reporting that Chelsea themselves might consider cashing in if the price is right, with any starting point for a deal said to be around £80 million. Palmer is a Manchester United fan. He grew up supporting the club, and if Chelsea decide they want to sell, United would absolutely be in the conversation. It is one to monitor throughout the summer. It may come to nothing, but the idea of Cole Palmer pulling on a United shirt at Old Trafford is the kind of thing that genuinely gets fans excited.